Hey guys, this is Candle, and it's once again time to check in and see how we're doing on those writing goals. For those of you who aren't aware, basically every 3 months I set goals for myself either in writing or with my personal life and try to do as best as I can, complete as many as I can over the next 3 months. Now, the last time I did this, I did all right. I think I got like exactly halfway through, but I set some goals for myself, and so let's go ahead and see just how well we've done so far. So I keep them on my phone because it's always with me. That way I can tick them off or add more to the list as I need to. And first up on the list is finish the rough draft of my current work in progress, Bloodless. Now, I have not done this. I know that really sucks. I've been at this book for 5 years now. This specific draft has been going for close to two. And it's really disheartening to go this long without having a finished, complete rough draft. And I really thought 3 months was more than enough time in order to finish it, but apparently I was off a bit. I am one of those slow writers. See, I can't really ridicule people like Patrick Rothfuss or George R. R. Martin anymore because I kind of write just as slow as they do, if not slower. So my next goal was to make a writing schedule, and I have done this. I actually did this a couple different times, a couple different formats of a writing schedule, and each time it never really stuck that well with the way my work schedule has been recently. I have been working overtime, and it's really hard to fit that time in for writing and still have a balanced life, have enough time to relax so I don't burn out on anything. And last couple times I just hadn't really been able to stick to my writing schedule, but still I have been making them. Next up was to brainstorm ideas for Bloodbound, which is the sequel to my current work in progress. And I have done some of that. I don't think I have enough to start outlining yet, but I have done some of it. The next goal after that was to brainstorm ideas for Haven, which is my other next project I'm going to be working on after Bloodless is done. The reason why I'm kind of splitting time between two projects in the future is I would like to continue on and write the sequel to Bloodless as soon as it's done. But on the other hand, without having sold it, why put time into writing a sequel? So at this point, I'm kind of splitting my time for my next couple projects together. The next couple goals after that were to outline Bloodbound and outline Haven. I have not, unfortunately, done this. Like I said, I have done some brainstorming for both of them, but not enough to get to where I need to be in order to outline. So next up after that was a couple goals that were contingent on finishing the rough draft of Bloodless, do the first read through and look for any issues that I can find. Now, I recently joined a writing group, so I have been submitting early chapters from Bloodless to the writing group, and they've helped me identify some issues to fix on the next draft, but I haven't actually gone through and looked for issues myself, so that's why I'm not counting this goal as completed. After that was to start the second draft of Bloodless, which, considering I haven't finished the rough draft yet, obviously I haven't done this yet either. Now, next up was to research critique partners and beta readers. I have been doing some research into that. At this point, I'm not really planning on doing any critique partners, but that's because I joined a writing group, and it's an online group, and there are like 9 of us, I think. So we're submitting chapters each week for each of our projects, and we're getting feedback from everybody in the group and so on. So that's why I don't think I really need critique partners, because I have a whole group of people who are helping critique the early drafts of my work. I do want to eventually get beta readers. I'm just not quite ready for that yet. I think by the time I'm neck deep in the second draft, then I'll probably be ready to start looking for beta readers to read and give me their impressions of the book and so on. After that was a goal of reading 6 books in 3 months, which means an average of a book every 2 weeks or so. I have not done this, though not for lack of trying. I have read 5 books so far, and they were the ones that were up here during the last few videos. As I read them, they kind of slowly disappeared and so on, which is what this shelf is. This is basically my to-read list. And I am halfway through the 6th book, but I haven't finished it yet. I was hoping to be able to finish it over this past week since I've been on vacation, but a lot of my time has been taken up with other things, specifically writing, as well as just relaxing, because, hey, I'm on vacation. Other than that, I also had a goal of beating 15 games, which is an average of 5 a month. Now, that does include major DLC packs, but it does not include duplicates, because sometimes I have the same game across multiple systems, and when I beat one, I consider myself having beaten the others, but I didn't count that for the goal here. I have beaten 17 titles though, so good on that. So the next couple goals were regards to my vacation, which was this past week. I had to make hotel reservations for my sister's wedding, which was last weekend. It was a beautiful, beautiful wedding, and I did in fact make my hotel reservations. I did not just show up at the last minute, so that's great. I had to plan the rest of my trip. Originally, I had been planning on going to the Biltmore estate in North Carolina, which, considering the wedding was in Maryland, it would have been another detour to go further south in order to get there, and then pretty much just a straight shot north to get home. But I ended up deciding against it once I realized that it was $90 for a 2-hour tour, and I don't really think that's worth it. Now, the reason why I was going to go to Biltmore was for research for Bloodbound, which is the sequel to Bloodless. Now, when I say I don't think it was worth it, I mean I don't think it was worth it for me at this time. I do plan to make it there eventually, and it'll be great research and everything, but it wasn't worth it at this time. So instead, I made a small detour on my way home. Instead of driving straight through Pennsylvania, I made a small detour to Warren, Pennsylvania, and spent an hour or two in the area, just driving around, walking around, trying to get a feel for the area. Again, this was research for Bloodbound, because I'm planning on setting it kind of in that geographical area. And yeah, and then I made my way home after that. It was great. So the next goal after that was to make any remaining reservations. Had I gone to Biltmore, I would have needed to stay an extra night somewhere in North Carolina. So I would have needed to rent a hotel or a motel room or something there. But because I didn't, then I didn't have to do that. So I checked this off really quickly. And the last goal from this last quarter was to get a new laptop. Now, this is the other reason why I ended up not going to Biltmore. My laptop was about almost 10 years old. It was really, really slow, especially compared to my current desktop computer, and the battery could not hold a charge anymore, so it was basically chained to a wall. So I made the decision that it was probably a smarter idea to replace it, get a new laptop. That way I could take it with me on the trip, I could take it to the laundromat, I could write pretty much anywhere on the go. So it was kind of a smarter executive decision to get the laptop instead of going to the Biltmore, and I did that. So yeah, it's actually sitting right over here right now. It's right here. It's an Acer Aspire notebook. It's 15 inches compared to the 17-inch behemoth that my last laptop was. But my last laptop, I had been playing some games on it. This one, all it really is a way for me to write while on the go. So that is it for my past goals. If you have been paying attention and counting along in your head, I have done 10 out of 16 goals. So that is awesome. That is not necessarily an A+, but that is a success. Basically, the way I figure it is, as long as I've done at least half of my goals, I can count it as a success, because I do try to be a little bit ambitious when it comes to setting these goals. Now, here is the list of all of my personal and writing goals for the next quarter, basically all to be completed by the end of the year, December 31st. So, first up is to complete the rough draft of Bloodless. Now, like I said, I spent 3 months. I felt that was more than enough time to get it done, but I didn't quite get there. Basically, right now, I am just starting to write the climax. I'm about half a scene to a full scene into it, and I am really, really excited, because it's the climax of the book. It's the climax of the story, and then after that is the resolution. So hopefully, I really, really want to get this one done by November 1st. I really think a month should be more than enough, but I've said that in the past before, but we'll see. The reason why I want to have it done by November 1st, though, is because this draft was started for NaNoWriMo back in 2015. So if I can get it done before November 1st this year, that will be a full 2 years spent on this one draft. And, oh, what a journey it's been. So next up after that is to stick to my writing schedule. Now, like I've said before, with the last set of goals, I haven't been able to stick to my schedules that I've been making for myself, and I really think that I can do it this time. Partially because I'm only setting goals of about 10 hours a week in writing, and it's really more the time commitment that is the big thing for me, just getting in that time. So the way I'm kind of doing it right now is 5 days a week. I'm sitting down for 2 or 3 hours, usually in the mornings, and unfortunately, I can't set the same days or the same hours every week because I work a flexible schedule job, but I'm still doing the best I can with what I have available. So the next couple goals are to continue brainstorming for Bloodbound and Haven. Basically, like I said, I don't think I have enough ideas that I'm ready to start outlining those books, but hopefully by the time I have finished this draft, I will be ready to do so, because the next couple goals after that are to in fact outline those next two projects. After that, I have to investigate Scrivener, which is an awesome, well, so I've heard it's awesome, but it's basically a writing application that helps you collect and correlate all your notes and your scenes and everything. And the biggest reason why I'm interested in it right now is a number of people in my writing group use it and they love it, and it has color coding features, and that's going to be really useful, especially when I get into writing or at least outlining Haven, because the idea I have in my head right now requires a minimum of 6 point of view characters, so it'll be very easy to keep them straight if I can just color code each and every one of them. After that is to read Bloodless, read my rough draft of Bloodless, and look for any issues. Like I said, I have my writing group. They are critiquing early chapters as I post them, and they're giving me some insight into certain specific issues that I have with it, which is, it's great. I mean, I wasn't expecting it to be perfect here. It's a rough draft. It's kind of supposed to be shit. So it's great to have that outside input, but when I start reading it, then I'll be able to figure out what I think is wrong with it, and we'll see from there. After that is to start the second draft of Bloodless. So I'm hoping to be able to start it by the end of the year. Basically, I kind of want to take October to finish the draft and brainstorm from the next couple projects. I want to take November and probably, to take November and outline my next couple projects, and then December to read through Bloodless, probably more than once, and just identify any issues I can, and then hopefully by the end of the year I can start the next draft. Other than that, I have a goal of writing 4 critiques a week for my writing group. There are 9 of us in total, which means that there's 8 critiques to do a week if I'm doing everybody, which is not easy to do. This week I've been able to pretty much keep up on it, but I've been on vacation, so I've had plenty of time. So basically what I try to do is break the group in half and do half the critiques one week, the other half the next week, and then it's back to the first group on the week after that, and so on, basically alternating between each half of the group. So after that is to read 6 books for fun. Now, I did not quite get this one last time. I'm hoping to do better this next time. You can see my current reading list up on the shelf here. A lot of these books are smaller than the last set of books I was reading, because those were a couple fantasy books and a couple urban fantasy books, all of which were like over 400 or 500 pages. And I think the only one here that is exceptionally thick, and it's even really not all that thick, but Warbreaker by Brandon Sanderson. This is, it's 670 pages long, so that's not too bad for a fantasy book. But beyond that, I want to read a further 3 books, which are craft books, and you can even see the first one I'm going to read right in the center here, The Elements of Style. Basically, I want to further my writing craft, and I can't just rely on watching YouTube videos and reading articles online. I need to actually sit down and read some books about things like style and so on. So then the next goal is to beat 15 games, and again, that's how I relax, is playing games. 15 might seem like a lot for 3 months, but again, that's 5 games a month. It averages out to about a game a little under a week, and considering I have so many unfinished games, that's why I'm able to hit this goal repeatedly. Like last time I was able to do 17 games this time I'm still hoping to do another 15. So we'll see how things go. There are a number of games coming out later this year that I'm really interested in. Some are larger than others. Like we've at the end of October we have Assassin's Creed Origins, we have Super Mario Odyssey. Both of those are fairly decently sized. Assassin's Creed is actually probably a bit big. But then on the same day you also have Wolfenstein 2, the new Colossus, which is going to be a much smaller game. I expect it to only be about maybe 10 to 12 hours at the most. And then the last goal for this next quarter is to get a new TV. This is really more of a reward than a goal. Basically, I'm saving up right now to buy a new TV because my old one is not necessarily the best. Plus, I'd like to get a one that's slightly bigger, slightly better, and stuff like that. But again, I'm viewing this more almost as a reward than a goal. So I'm just have it on here just kind of to keep it in mind at the back of my mind. Just keep saving that money. Just keep saving that money. And once you've hit certain milestones, like say completing the rough draft or finishing the outlines for the next couple projects, then I might consider actually buying the new TV. So that's it for my goals this time. If you have been wondering why there haven't been any videos over the last couple weeks, I put a post up on my blog. And basically that explains why. I'll give a quick rundown right now. I'll put a link to the post in the description down below so you can go check it out and see all my full reasonings as well. But really it comes down to just not having the time I thought I would. We've been short-staffed at work and I've been working a lot of overtime, and this past week is really the first time in a while that I've had to properly relax. I have another vacation coming up at the end of October, but that's going to be spent writing and playing games, and that's about it. So I don't have the time I used to in order to do a weekly vlog. Sorry guys, it's not happening at this point. I do hope to eventually bring back the Gamer Reader Writer series at some point, just not right now, unfortunately. Anyways, I'll see you guys next time. I think next week we are doing a gaming pickups video because, as you can see, I have a decent stack right here. That's what this pile is. That's what this pile is right here. It's all the games I've bought recently. So anyways, I'll see you guys next time. Thanks for watching. Please remember to comment, rate, and subscribe.